Close your eyes and let your mind soften for just a moment. Tonight, you don't have to solve anything. The Blue Hammock is already waiting. There is a small room somewhere near the sea. A ceiling fan turns slowly overhead, stirring the warm night air. The walls are pale, the light is low, and outside the open window, something is gently winding down. You are sitting on the edge of a narrow bed. In your hand, or resting on your knee, is your phone or a small notebook. Numbers are on the screen or written in ink, and your eyes keep moving over them. Bills, a balance, a number that feels smaller than you'd like. Your chest feels a little tight around all of it. Not because anything is broken, but because money carries so much weight in the body, even when you're still. Somewhere beyond the thin wooden shutters, you can hear the last sounds of the night market. A clatter of dishes being stacked, the low murmur of voices in Thai, soft and unhurried. A scooter passing somewhere on the road, then fading into the dark. And just underneath all of that, very faint but steady, the sound of the sea. You set the phone face down on the bed beside you. You close the notebook. The numbers don't go anywhere, but for now you simply let them rest there, on the page, on the screen, without asking anything more of yourself tonight. There is a small cloth pouch on the table near the door. You pick it up as you stand, tucking it into your hand without quite knowing why. Maybe just to have something to hold. At the foot of the bed, a dark shape shifts. Raven lifts her head, watching you with quiet, unhurried eyes. She stretches one long front leg, then the other, and stands up slowly beside you. She doesn't know anything about bank balances. She only feels whether you are tense or easy in your body. Right now she simply stands close, steady and warm at your side. You open the door. The night air comes in at once, warm and slightly humid, carrying the smell of garlic and lemongrass, still drifting from the stools below. You step outside. Raven pads beside you, her nails quiet on the worn stone steps. The market path opens up before you, and it is different now from earlier in the evening. The crowds have thinned to almost nothing. What remains is the slow, unhurried work of closing. To your left, a grill stand is cooling down. The coals have gone pale and dim, the last smoke rising thin and grey into the dark air. The vendor moves without rushing, wiping down the metal grill, setting the tongs in a tin beside the cart. To your right, a woman is folding fabric. Silks and cottons in deep oranges and blues and greens, stacked now into neat squares on her table. She smooths each piece once before folding it, the way someone might tuck a child into bed. You walk slowly, your fingers curled loosely around the cloth pouch. Raven moves beside you, unbothered by the sounds of stacking and sorting and closing. A string of lights above a fruit stand flickers once and then goes out. The color of the market shifts a little with each stall that dims, becoming softer, quieter, more amber than white. You pass a noodle cart where two vendors are laughing softly about something between themselves. One of them counts a small stack of bills, lips moving slightly, then places the notes neatly into a tin box. The other rinses out a bowl and sets it upside down on the rack. There is something in the way they move that you notice without being able to name it exactly. It is not joy, not exactly. It is more like completion. The day had a beginning and a middle, and now it is simply allowed to have an end. The ocean keeps the same slow rhythm, steady, steady. Further along, a fruit seller is wrapping the last of her produce in cloth to protect it overnight. Ripe mangoes, coconuts, something pale and sweet smelling, you can't quite make out in the low light. She glances up as you pass, gives a small nod, and goes back to her work. You nod back. There is something comforting in that small exchange, a recognition between two people at the end of a long day. You notice your grip on the pouch is still tight, your knuckles pressing against the cloth. You loosen them a little, not trying to fix anything, just letting your hand soften around it. The faint smell of coconut reaches you now, sweet and warm, drifting from somewhere behind you as a stand is packed away. And below that, the salt of the ocean, closer now as the market path curves toward the sea. Raven pauses near a stack of plastic stools and looks up at you. Her eyes are calm and patient. She is simply checking in the way she does. You take a breath. The warm air fills your lungs, soft and slow. You let it out again, a little more of the tightness going with it. The market path narrows slightly and then opens again as you reach the far end of the stalls. Hear the last hanging lanterns sway in the sea breeze, some still softly lit, some already dark, turning gently in the air like paper memories of the evening. Ahead of you now is the promenade, a wide paved path running along the edge of the sea, with a low stone wall separating you from the beach and the water beyond. The sounds here are different. The clatter of the market fades behind you, and what comes forward is the slow push and pull of waves. Not loud, not dramatic. Just steady, the way the sea always is at this hour. You walk along the promenade wall, your fingers trailing the rough stone surface. It is warm from the day, slightly uneven under your fingertips. To your right, the last lights from the market, throw pale reflections across the dark water. Orange and gold stretching in long, broken lines on the surface of the sea. Then farther out, nothing but the deep blue black of the open water, and a few distant pinpricks of light from boats somewhere far away. Raven walks close, her shoulder occasionally brushing your leg. Her nails tap quietly on the pavement, slowing as you slow. You think again, briefly, about the numbers on your screen back in the room. The way they felt so final, so heavy. Like a verdict rather than a moment in time. And then you look out at the water. The tide is going somewhere. It always is. In and out, pulling back to gather itself, then returning, steady, steady. There is no verdict in a tide. There is only movement. One direction for a while, then the other. A vendor passes you on the promenade, carrying a folded canvas awning under one arm, and a small cash box is the other hand. He is walking slowly, not in a hurry at all, heading somewhere to put the day away for the night. And for just a moment you watch him go, and something loosens a little further in your chest. He had a day. Maybe a good one, maybe a harder one. But the day ended, and the box got closed, and now he is walking home. The ocean keeps the same slow rhythm, steady, steady. You find yourself breathing a little slower without deciding to. The warmth of the night settling around you like something soft. Somewhere nearby, a few last voices from the market carry on the breeze. Laughter, a short phrase you don't understand, but don't need to. It sounds like the end of a day that was lived. You look down at the cloth pouch in your hand. You are holding it much more loosely now. You hadn't noticed the shift, but it happened somewhere between the grill stand and the sea. A little further along the promenade, there is a bench set against the low wall, simple and plain, facing the water. You move toward it without quite deciding to. You sit down. The bench is solid and warm beneath you, the stone wall at your back catching the last of the night heat. Raven circles once and then settles at your feet, curling herself into a soft, dark shape against the pavement. Her breathing slows almost immediately. In and out, calm and even. Behind you, the market is mostly dark now. A few last glows, a few last voices, slowly going quiet one by one. In front of you, the sea moves in its own unhurried way. Waves arriving at the shore, washing gently up the sand, then drawing back again into the dark. You rest your hands on your knees. The cloth pouch is still there, resting loosely in your palm now, not gripped, just held. You think of the vendors counting their cash tonight. Some boxes fuller than others, some nights better than last week, some weeks harder than the month before. And yet, Tomorrow evening the stalls will open again. The grills will be lit, the fabric folded out, the fruit arranged in its rows. Not because they solved everything tonight, but because the cycle continues and they trust the cycle. You can feel your own money story sitting with you here on this bench. Not disappearing, not fixed. Just resting alongside you for a moment, the way a heavy bag feels different when you finally set it on the ground beside your feet. There have been seasons of more. There have been seasons of less. Times when money felt like it was flowing easily, and times when it felt tight and still. And you moved through all of them, little by little. The tide doesn't panic when it recedes. It simply goes where it goes and returns. You look out at the water and let that settle in your body, Gedere. Not as an idea, but as something felt. The sea moving in its steady rhythm, in and back, in and back. Raven shifts slightly at your feet, sighs once, and goes still again. Her ease is its own kind of reassurance. She is warm and present, and in this moment, that is enough. The ocean keeps the same slow rhythm, steady, steady. A slight breeze comes off the water, touching your face and arms, carrying the salt and the faint damp earth smell of the beach at night. You close your eyes for a moment and simply breathe it in. Your shoulders drop a little. Your jaw softens. You sit with the sea for a while, not needing to go anywhere, not needing to think through anything more. The last voices from the market have gone quiet now. What remains is the sound of water, the occasional soft exhale of wind through the palm fronds above the promenade, and Raven's slow, easy breathing at your feet. Somewhere behind you, a stall comes fully dark, a click, and then silence. And then another, and another, until the market is simply dark shapes and folded cloth, and the memory of colour. You breathe in. Warm air, salt, the faintest trace of something sweet still drifting from the fruit stands. You breathe out. The cloth pouch rests now on the bench beside you, no longer in your hand at all. You set it down at some point without noticing. You think of one small thing you can do. Not a plan, not a strategy. Just one quiet action, something simple and steady. A daily check-in, a number written down, a little move to one side each week. Nothing dramatic, just the vendors returning each evening, lighting the grill, setting out the fabric. One day, then the next. And then you let the rest of it go for tonight. The fear around money, the sense of being behind, the old tight feeling in your chest, all of it you imagine moving off the bench and down to the water's edge. Not gone, not fixed, just carried by the tide for the night. while you rest. The sea is dark and wide, and it can hold a great deal. It has been holding things far longer than any of us. Raven lifts her head once, looks toward the water, then rests her chin back on her paws. Satisfied with the night, you look up at the sky, deep blue-black above the sea, a few stars visible through the warm haze. The same stars above every market, every tide, every person sitting quietly with their money fears, and finding, slowly, that there is more steadiness available than they thought. The ocean keeps the same slow rhythm, steady, steady. You breathe in again and out. The wave comes in and goes back. You are not behind. You are in a cycle. And cycles move little by little. Steady, steady. The blue hammock sways somewhere nearby, strung low between two palms at the edge of the promenade, catching the same soft sea breeze. Unhurried, simply there. After a while you stand. Raven rises with you, stretching slowly, leaning into your leg for a moment before finding her pace beside you. You walk back along the promenade toward the market, the way you came. The stalls are all dark now, canvas tied down, stools stacked, goods wrapped and waiting for tomorrow. The path is quiet enough that you can hear only the sea behind you now, steady and low, and your own footsteps, and Raven's. You pass the fabric stall, dark and folded. You pass the grill stand, cold and still. You pass the fruit seller's empty table, the last scent of mango still faint in the air. Everything that moved and sold and counted and called out today is now simply resting, allowed to be still. You are allowed to be still too. The steps back to the guest room are just ahead. You climb them slowly, Raven just behind you. Inside, the fan is still turning overhead, moving the warm air in slow, easy circles. The phone is still face down on the bed. The notebook is still closed. You don't open either of them. The numbers will be there its morning, and you will look at them then, with clearer eyes and a steadier body. You lie down. The pillow is soft. The sheets are warm. Raven settles at the foot of the bed, a small, steady weight, breathing. You close your eyes. From here, the market is only a memory of warm light and folding canvas. And the sea is a sound your body already knows how to follow. In and back. In and back. Steady. Steady. Little by little, the mind softens around everything it was holding. The tight places in your chest become simply warm. The numbers on the screen are just numbers. The tide is just a tide, and you are someone moving through a cycle, not someone trapped in a verdict. The ocean keeps the same slow rhythm, steady, steady. Waves arriving, waves returning. The market sleeps, the sea moves on. And you rest now, inside the warmth of a night that has asked nothing more of you. Steady, little by little, the fan turns, the sea breathes, and you drift softly down